How is it going, everyone? Let me rearrange things as seemingly always here. We have quite the story to talk about today. Just one story. Before I get into it, I do want to apologize that we did not have an episode of Prime News today like we normally do on Fridays. I did have a family emergency today. So unfortunately, that family emergency ate into any and all time there would have been to make a Prime News. But that's okay. We'll be back at it again on Monday at 5 p.m. So be sure to tune in for that. Monday, we got podcast landing at 10 a.m. And then obviously, Prime News at 5. We'll see if there's a video in between. But the first thing we're going to talk about before we get into anything else, because this is a live stream, so there'll be a Q&A and we'll chat and all this stuff, is we're going to talk about the story that I can't believe that this is a thing that's happening right now. I mean, I can believe it, but I don't want to believe it. And we're talking about Axiom Verge and the developers behind it. Now, I'm going to reference the Kotaku article for it because they actually gathered a lot of information here. So let's just go through what we can here. I'm actually going to see if, what is it, Control Plus? Yeah, let's zoom in on this bad boy. All right. So let's just read the article, because as you see, Axiom Verge developer and distributor says that its publisher owes them over $250,000. It's pretty bad. If this is all true, this is pretty bad. So it says Axiom Verge, the celebrated Metroidvania from developer Tom Happ, is getting a physical release on Wii U this year. That's the good news. The bad news is that the game's distributor, Limited Run Games, and its business manager, Dan Edelman, have said that its publisher, BadLands Games, still owes them around $250,000. Now, Dan actually used to work for Nintendo, so to me, that makes me kind of want to believe this maybe more than I should, but I don't know why Limited Run Games and Dan Edelman and the people that made Axiom Verge would lie about this. It doesn't make any sense. So in announcing the Wii U physical version of the game, which it will put up for sale later this month, Limited Run said that BadLands owes them $78,000 for physical copies of the game that it never delivered. Okay, cool, whatever. I mean, that sucks. But after that, Edelman said that BadLands has not paid Tom Happ a sum that it believes to be around $200,000, including money that was intended to go into a special fund to help pay for medical treatments for Happ's young child. BadLands has literally stolen money from a disabled toddler, according to Dan Edelman. And he said it in a series of tweets earlier today. According to Edelman, he and Happ have been approached by a number of companies interested in trying to produce a physical version of Axiom Verge for various platforms. They eventually decided to go with BadLands because of the unique terms of the deal that was being offered. So in addition to matching what other publishers were offering in terms of revenue share, they said they would contribute 75% of their cut to a trust fund set up for Alistair Happ's ongoing medical expenses. Edelman wrote on Twitter. So this was in the contract they signed. This is why they chose BadLands over any other publisher, because they were willing to take 75% of their cut and basically set it aside for his son's medical expenses. So why does his son need all this money for medical expenses? You know, why doesn't Tom have, like, you know, health insurance and all this stuff to take care of it? Well, let's find out what his son has, because it really sucks. Alistair Happ suffers from a rare neurological disorder called I can't even pronounce it that well. Kernicterus. Most treatments for which are experimental and not covered by insurance. So hundreds of thousands of dollars is what it's going to take to treat his son. Years later, after physical versions of the game claimed to PlayStation 4, PlayStation Vita, and Switch, Edelman says the money is still missing. So BadLands helped deliver the game on PlayStation 4, PlayStation Vita, and Switch, but never took 75% of his cut and put it in a trust fund. It never happened. They literally screwed, assuming this is all true, they screwed a child out of his medical care that they contractually agreed to. Think about that for a moment. Think about that for a moment. They published the game. They sold copies of the game. And they amount to $200,000 that's missing, that was supposed to go in part to pay for this kid's medical expenses for experimental treatment. I mean, I almost want to cry right now. That's the entire reason they signed the agreement with BadLands, was for that money. They agreed to BadLands over all other publishers because they were willing to set money aside in the agreement for this child. Wow. Anyways, neither Edelman, Hap, or Badland were immediately available to respond. According to Edelman's tweets, Badland, which is based in Spain, was originally set to publish physical versions of the game in both Europe and North America. The company later came back. Here's an instant red flag from a publisher, right? When you go with a publisher, the whole point of going with a publisher is that they are taking care of the publishing side of things, right? They don't need money from you. They're publishing the game. The money they get is on the cut of the game. Okay, so this is a red flag. So the company later came back and asked Hap to front the money required to manufacture the copies for North America, which Edelman said was a signal to Edelman that something wasn't right. At that point, we still thought Badland was operating at least in good faith. They still had a contract in place. They were just low on cash to complete the publishing, which, why would you offer publishing if you can't afford to publish the game? That's a little weird, but whatever. We were still planning on dividing up the proceeds on the original terms, which of course they were. So basically, you front the cash, you're expected to get that cash back, and then on top of that, you know, you're also expecting that the 75% of their profits from it are supposed to still be set aside. So essentially, what happened is they ended up fronting the cash to Badlands to get the game published, fully expecting that they're fronting the money, meaning they're going to be giving that money back, and that any additional profits after that money is paid back would then obviously be set aside for the son, minus 25% of whatever, you know, is left that goes to the actual publisher. So this is pretty interesting. Hap and Edelman organized the distribution of the physical copies in North America. It's even worse. That's even worse. That is even worse. So they got this publisher to take care of the game in North America, but Hap and Edelman are organizing the distribution of the physical copies. Why do they have to organize the distribution of the physical copies? That is literally one of the primary things a publisher does. At this point, they're practically self-publishing, except they gave this other company money, with retailers paying Hap his share directly. But Edelman said that Hap has never been paid for his share of the version sold in Europe. So basically what happened is they were supposed to publish it in North America, and they basically didn't do it. So they self-published in North America, and companies literally paid Hap, the maker of the game, and his son and all that stuff directly. But the problem is that Badlands did publish it in Europe and never paid, you know, $200,000 that they owe Hap and his son, and they also never paid back the $78,000 that they borrowed the company in the first place to publish the game in Europe. Wow. Meanwhile, a Wii U version to be produced by Badland never materialized at all. So that was another thing too, is Badland was supposed to take care of the Wii U version. We're getting a Wii U version now. No thanks to Badland. As outlined in an extensive report by GameIndustry.biz, the boutique distributor Limited Run Games ordered 6,000 copies of the Wii U edition of Axiom Verge, which included a soundtrack, art book, other extras for which it paid Badlands $78,000 in early 2017. So basically this thing right here that they did eventually announce. It planned to sell them through its website that fall. So it's going to be a website exclusive. You go to the website, get the limited multiverse edition, and yeah, this company was supposed to take care of it. Not Thomas Hap himself. This company they paid the money to take care of it in ordering 6,000 copies. So $78,000 was paid to Badland on the order for 6,000 copies of this. So basically they fronted the money to order the copies. You sell them, you get your money back, profit splits, all that stuff. But the copies never showed up. In early 2018, Limited Run Games filed a lawsuit seeking repayment. It won the lawsuit, but still has not received payment. despite Badlands temporarily closing in 2018 as a result of money issues. Josh Fairhurst, Limited Run's CEO, told GameIndustry.biz that he believes the company has the money to pay. So this is interesting. They gave them money. They did nothing with that money, and now the company is basically bankrupt. Doesn't really make sense because they didn't do anything. Okay, so it says Badlands Publishing has released several physical retail products since we sent them our money. Some within the last few months. So you know what they did with that money, right? They used that money to release other products. Instead of delivering on what they were paid to deliver, they released other products. So not only did they steal $200,000 from a sick child, they took the money, invested in them for the Wii U version of the game, and spent it to release other games. What? How is this company even still around? Now, honestly, I know that he believes the money's still there because they've been releasing games, but let's be honest, it's pretty obvious they used that money to release those games. So they probably don't have the money because they used that $78,000 to release all these other games and not actually deliver on what that money was being paid to you for. Probably because, if I had to guess, Badlands' thought process was, who cares that they ordered 6,000 copies of this Wii U version? No one's going to buy the Wii U version, so we're going to put the money in other things we think are going to be more profitable. It's basically the logic I could see coming across this, Josh Fairhurst. And I'm sorry, not Josh Fairhurst. He's from Limited Run. But the people at Badlands. Like, that's the only logic I can think is they thought, why would we spend this money on the Wii U copies that were paid for, and that's what this money's for, and let's release these other games. I'm getting a headache just reading this. Anyways, it says Badlands Publishing has released several physical retail products since we sent them our money, some within the last few months. Fairhurst told GameIndustry.biz. Through my knowledge of minimum order requirements with the major platforms and the associated cost, I know that Badlands has spent more than $100,000 at least on recent physical product releases. Again, this is based on his own knowledge of how many you have to order for a physical release on a platform. So it sounds like you have to spend at least $100,000 to release a physical game on any of the major platforms, because that's the total amount, that the money adds up to, that's the total amount of units, money-wise, to have a physical version. So, okay. So a little bit more than what they paid. They paid $78,000, so that means they also came up with another $22,000 somewhere in there. So they had more than enough money to pay us back. Arguably true, because they spent $100,000 on, one game and another game and another game, but they couldn't pay back their money. That's interesting. Yet they've been content to keep our money. According to Louis Quinton, so here's the other side. He says, from the Badlands CEO, it will eventually pay back the money, but it needs time. In short, this judgment says that we have to pay to Limited Run. What we are willing to do from the beginning. Quinton's told GameIndustry.biz. Before that, Limited Run has to want to talk to us. And keep in mind that it is not possible to face all the repayments at once. But it's possible for you to keep releasing new physical copies of games at $100,000 a pop. Forgive me if Limited Run is just calling you on your bluff. Maybe you're out of money now, but you weren't out of money then. That's basically what Limited Run is saying. How can you keep releasing games at $100,000 a pop, but you can't pay us back $78,000? See, like, something's not adding up here. So Fairhurst said on Twitter that now that Limited Run has sued Badlands and won, it cannot make such a deal. So that's possibly, whatever happened in the lawsuit. Obviously, the lawsuit probably stipulates they have to pay one lump sum payment. That's probably what the judgment came to. Accepting a payment plan would invalidate our lawsuit and give Badlands a chance to not pay. Again, that's that has to do with the court judgment, and you can actually go look up the court documents to prove that judgment. Anyways, Limited Run will be releasing the Multiverse edition of Axiom Verge on March 29th for Wii U after partnering directly with Hap and Edelman. So basically, they said, you know what, like, these people shouldn't get screwed. We're going to take care of this. Like, Limited Run Games, like, look, we're going to get your game out on Wii U. It's happening. Screw these people at Badlands. Like, we should have never partnered with them. We thought it was a great idea because they were supposed to set money aside for your son. the entire reason they freaking did the thing, because health insurance won't cover it. But anyways, according to Edelman, they too are pursuing a lawsuit against BadLands for $200,000 they believe the publisher owes them, but the international nature of the suit is making it hard to make headway. Yeah, because it goes across multiple countries, so that's a lot of hoops to jump through to get that money. It's frustrating to see at @badland_publish tweet about new games they're releasing, no doubt funded with the money they owe Limited Run Games and Tom Happ. Do you understand? Like, is this clicking with you guys? What we just read? BadLands, for starters, we know BadLands stole $78,000. It happened. Lawsuit happened. Limited Run Games won. So they stole $78,000 that they were supposed to make these Wii U limited editions with, and they never made them. Okay, so that's just like, you know, out there, whatever. They stole $78,000 while they continue to release new games that cost more money than the $78,000 that they gave them. So they've had a lot of opportunities to pay them back, and they haven't, and the judge found that and like, yeah, you could have paid this back. What's wrong with you? You owe this money to them. Pay it up. And they still haven't paid up. They want to make a payment plan, which would invalidate the judgment because that might be a side agreement outside of the judgment, which would nullify the original agreement, which is for them to pay one lump sum payment. So basically, it would nullify the agreement and lead to them, you know, being able to delay payments forever and never pay. That's really what Limited Run Games is avoiding. On top of that, the only reason BadLands even became the publisher is because they were going to set aside 75% of their cut, BadLands' cut of the money, into a trust fund for Tom's son, who has a disorder that is not covered by insurance for treatments because there is no 100% for sure treatment for it. It's experimental treatments. It's a mental disorder. Oh, man, the guy's a toddler, man. It's a toddler, a kid. They didn't release the games in North America, so Tom Happ and Limited Run Games figured it out on their own. And then on top of that, when they released it in Europe and all the copies that sold in Europe, they didn't get any of the money for Tom's son, let alone the $78,000 back that was supposed to be for North America Wii U version. Like, this is beyond effed up. I mean, I've never wanted to swear at a publisher more in my life. Let me, I'm going to close that window quick. How can this happen? I mean, it's clear, at least at this point, that, you know, Limited Run Games could have probably published it for, you know, for Tom Edelman, or for Dan Edelman and Tom Haps. Like, they could have published it. But obviously, it's hard to turn down a publishing agreement with a company that's saying, look, not only are we going to give you the same cut every other publisher is going to give you, we're also going to set aside 75% of our profits for your sick child. I mean, how do you not take that agreement? Especially when you can go look up BadLands and see that they have been successfully releasing games. So they are a publisher that has a track record of releasing games. So you wouldn't see anything fishy with their inability to deliver on releasing the games. And you wouldn't see anything fishy about them saying, hey, look, they sounded like they wanted to be really cool about it. Basically, release your game on pennies on the dollar for themselves. Not only give you guys your cut of the profits, but also pay your son's medical expenses. When they knew his son wasn't covered by health insurance. That's the entire reason they made that offer to publish the game. Yeah, here we are today in 2019. That child is missing $200,000. I mean, Limited Run Games is going to be okay. Like, they're big. They have money. They have other games. But, like, I can't help but feel bad for Tom Happ and his son. Like, you know, and Dan Edelman, former Nintendo employees, like, in the middle of all this, trying to be like, this is just not, like, you can't do this. You know, you're taking money from a child. Gosh. My head hurts. I didn't have a headache when I started this stream. I only read part of the story. Now that I've read the whole thing, I mean, there's lying going on. I mean, you can't say you can't afford to pay limited run games when you're releasing games that take $100,000 a pop. Several of them. I don't care what your prior commitments were. You had no problem screwing limited run games, so why don't you screw somebody else because you don't want another lawsuit? Ugh. Let's see what some people are saying in the chat here. For starters, welcome Ultimate Keymaster, Ryan Lista, Corey Ball, who stopped in for a moment. D-Dub, Red Chaos 173, Small Dream, and Javip89. Let me see here. Oh man, if that's true, someone's in huge trouble. The problem is the problem is actually laid out because Dan Edelman and Tom Haps are pursuing that $200,000. Limited run games already pursued for $78,000 and won. Tom Hap and Dan Edelman are trying to file a lawsuit to get the $200,000 they owe Tom Hap's son. The problem is that because it's in Europe and the games are sold across all these different countries, there's a lot of legal loopholes to jump through in each country to successfully pull off a lawsuit of that magnitude across all of Europe. See, limited run games, it was very simple. They paid $78,000 for Wii U special editions for North America. It's one country. I don't think they're ever getting the money. That's what sucks about all this. Tom Hap is never going to get the money for his son's medical treatment. It's just not going to happen. And I'm not going to sit here and like, you know, say, oh, Tom Hap's not well off. I don't know. I don't know what his financial situation is. But what I do know is medical bills for experimental treatments for an incurable disease that your child has can rack up in the millions. And of course, they're going to keep fighting and trying these experimental treatments and trying to get their son to live. And you take that money from them and you publish other games. I know there's some sick, demented people out there, right? I know this. Look what just happened. What was it, in New Zealand? Like, there's sick, demented people out there that do sick and demented things. Taking money from a child that needs it because you are irresponsible bastards when it comes to managing your own publishing company. I mean, you're a publisher. You basically just milk profits off everyone else's work. There's zero risk. Companies order copies. They get sent off to retailers. You get your money. You're like in a zero risk game. It's not hard. You didn't pay for the game to be made. It wasn't that kind of an agreement. It wasn't like EA coming in as a publisher for, say, A Way Out, where they paid for that game to be made as a publisher. That's not even what happened here. They didn't pay for Axiom Verge to be made. Axiom Verge already released. The game already existed. They agreed to this to get physical copies of the game in store shelves. That means all this is a straight profit train for them. I can't believe this happened. I mean, I can, but you would like to think stuff like this can't happen. But it's the world we live in, and I feel sorry for them. You know, the good news is this is getting traction. It's on Kotaku. I think IGN said something about it. It's starting to get a lot of traction. The good news is, like, honestly, if Tom Hap push came to shove and he couldn't afford the medical treatments anymore, I'm sure he could do a GoFundMe or something, and the entire gaming industry would swoop in and help him out. I guarantee that. Like, I don't think he wants to do that, because if they do that, then they can't probably finish pursuing this lawsuit or something. I don't know the legalities of it all, but I do know that obviously push come to shove that, you know, now that there's some traction here, that the whole of the video game community, developers, publishers, you know, fans, gamers, would probably all come together to help get his son the medical treatments he needs. But it shouldn't have to come to that. They already took care of that. That's what this agreement was for. They didn't want to crowdfund treatments for their kid. Anyways. Congratulations on your 100th, Nate. Thanks, T. Hodgins. Yeah, the 100th episode of the Nintendo Prime Podcast. Technically released fully publicly on Monday. I have to edit it over the weekend, but yeah. I know a bunch of people got to see it live on Thursday, so it was kind of cool. I want to hope they'll get the money they need for that treatment. Same. The thing is, I'm sure he's already on. Here's the thing, like, as a parent, even if I couldn't afford it right this second, I'd probably still get him on the experimental treatment. The thing is when you do these experimental treatments or any treatment not covered by insurance, they rarely ask for all the money up front. Basically, you can go on really, really expensive payment plans. And I'm sure that's what his son is on, is expensive payment plans, and he's been on expensive payment plans. And all this money was supposed to do is help you alleviate some of those payments. So I'm sure his son's already on it, because I just know, like, me as a parent, you do anything possible to save your kids' lives. Like, if my kids had some incurable disease and there was some experimental treatments that have shown progress in some cases, you're gosh darn right my kids are getting on that experimental treatment right now. I don't care that my banks have $2 in it. I'm gonna figure it the hell out. I'll sell my car. I'll sell my house. I don't care. You do what it takes to save your kid's life. But so I'm sure his son's already on the treatment. But there's an end to that. You make the payments, and eventually you don't have any more money. And what then? What happens when Tom Happ runs out of money and can't make his payments anymore? That means the kid has to stop his treatments. And I don't want that to ever happen. I don't want that to happen. And heck, even if it doesn't happen, right? Even if Tom Happ, through his own success with Axiom, Verge, and other projects, is able to make all the payments on it, what kind of sacrifices are they making in their life that they shouldn't have to make because they should have this money? You know? Did they have to sell their house and move into a smaller apartment? You know? What if they had a studio space and now they had to get rid of it because they can't afford to have one because they got to pay medical bills for their son? What if he had to let go of employees that help him make the game because he can't afford to have employees? What if we find out that Tom Happ is only eating one meal a day? I don't know how you can do this to a parent, to a kid. Like, do they not have a heart at Badlands? And then to tell limited run games you can't pay them their money as you just keep freely spending money. Oh, it's so bad. It's so bad. This is just, oh my gosh. I'm tearing up over hypothetical situations, for crying out loud. This is terrible. Oh, man. Should have never got to this point. We shouldn't even know about this. Tiago, it was a great show. Thanks. Sonic Forces, I'll watch from the beginning. You do that. So what are your guys' thoughts on this story? Do you believe it? Do you not believe it? I mean, obviously there's already, like, the legalities of limited run games and the lawsuit, like, that's verifiable and likely true. You won't just publicly talk about that if it wasn't true because they claim they won the lawsuit. You can actually go look up that, but there's public records on that stuff. So my thing is, obviously, I think I've said my piece. I want to know your guys' thoughts on that. Otherwise, I don't really want to talk about any other stories from today. There really wasn't a lot of big news today anyways. Obviously, there was that terrible news I reported about the Epic Game Store, but, I mean, there's not really much more to say about that either. It's like, oh, man, shame on you, Epic. So I guess the rest of the stream will just be you guys can ask me questions. Q&A it up. So if you have any questions, let me know. I do still plan on getting a Prime Answers episode out tomorrow at some point. I'm not sure when it's going to land because I haven't recorded it yet. Might record it before I go to bed tonight. We'll see. Then I'll just edit it in the morning and get it out at the normal time. Again, I apologize for not getting Prime News out today. I had a family emergency come up. Thankfully, the family emergency came up on a day when there really wasn't enough news for a Prime News anyways. So I was going to make a video on this, though, to replace Prime News. It's basically going to be a Prime News episode dedicated to this story. But, hey, you got a live stream dedicated to it, so. Let's see here. The chat's been kind of dead today. I actually wondered if notifications were even sent out for this stream. I've actually been wondering all week if notifications are going out for much of anything. Because a lot of my videos have had a lot of this low viewership, even with some big stories. And I think I'm caught up in the algorithm of YouTube, where now like I'm on the decline and they're like not sharing my stuff with my own subscribers. It happens. We've had this happen before. Well, we've had this happen 3 other times where we were on the bad side of their algorithm. I mean, we always came out of it eventually, but you never know how long it's going to last, right? It's been a week. You know, is it going to last, another 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks? I mean, you never know. You never know when YouTube's going to realize, oh, maybe we should actually share your videos with the people who want to see it, huh? Yeah, Javi89, example, hasn't got a notification in 2 weeks. Are you still subscribed? Did they unsubscribe you? Yeah, that's what they tell you, Timothy Lee. The notifications should be sent if you hit the bell. I have the bell hit on 20 different YouTube channels. All 20 of those YouTube channels put up a video today. The only one I got a notification for was Dreamcast Guy on his Mortal Kombat 11 review. Beta review, I guess I should say. And Easy Allies. I didn't get a notification for 18 of the other ones that I hit the bell on. So the bell icon doesn't guarantee anything. Does it probably give you a slightly higher chance in their algorithm of getting one? Sure. Doesn't guarantee it like it's supposed to. It hasn't guaranteed it in a long time. You're still subscribed. Okay. I had the bell on and several streams just don't go through. Yeah, and here's the thing. Now, to be fair, YouTube doesn't talk about this much, but they will only advertise 3 videos a day. That includes live streams. So if or in a 24-hour period, I guess is the best way to put it. So the 5 major games for Switch, blah, 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 the Prime News episode from yesterday went out at 6:30 p.m. So the first video I put up, Epic Games launchers gathering and checking data, 8 hours ago. That would have been within 24 hours of that video. But the stream I'm doing right now was started after 24 hours. So there was no 3 videos in 24 hours, what I'm saying. So there's no reason the notification should have been sent out for this live stream. But this is the way the streams go. Like, viewership is low on the stream. I mean, relatively low. We're at where we used to be way back in the day. Because notifications aren't being sent out. People are just, sometimes, what's even worse is when it doesn't appear in the subscriber feed. Oh, I love when that happens. You guys remember when we had like a whole week where my live streams only had like 2 views because they weren't even being put in sub feeds? Oh, it's terrible. Let me see here. Jake Meyer says, so how did he steal from someone like that? Also, what's the kid's disability? The kid's disability, this is what they made publicly available. Let's see here. His disability is... hold on. He has a rare neurological disorder called kernicterus, and most treatments for which are experimental and aren't covered by insurance. And they stole the money in so much that BadLands, as just like a quick summary, approached Limited Run Games and Tom Happ to make a publishing agreement for Axiom Verge, the physical version. They said they would publish the game in all of Europe and in North America. And the reason they went with BadLands over all the other companies that were making offers is because not only would they agree to the financial cut, of how much Limited Run Games and Tom Happ gets, and then how much they're taking, they said that they would take 75% of BadLands' cut and put it in a trust fund for his son's medical expenses, because insurance wouldn't cover any of the medical expenses. And they released the game in Europe and never set aside the money of their profits. in a trust fund. They never made the trust fund. It's there in contract. It's there in writing, but they never made it. And unfortunately, that was an agreement, part of the contract that was between Tom Happ and BadLands. So limited run games can't help, and the lawsuit that they're filing to try to get the $200,000, which is what they estimated, that the other company made, because they would know how many copies sold, because they know how much money they made and they know what the cut was. So they know how much money not limited run games, that Badlands should have made off of their games. So that's why they came to the 200,000 figure, because we know what you made, and 75% of what you made should be $200,000. But unfortunately, because it was distributed all over Europe, they have to jump through the legal hoop in each country to get the lawsuit filed, which is very difficult to do. And they're not exactly, rolling in the cash, or they might not even pursue this lawsuit. Meanwhile, Limited Run Games loaned Badlands $78,000 to publish the Wii U Special Edition we're getting now in North America, but they never actually published it. The Wii U Special Edition we're getting now in North America ended up being financed by Dan Edelman, formerly of Nintendo, and Tom Haps himself. And obviously the hope is that all the copies that they did for the Wii U version, the Special Edition in North America, sell out, because that's the only way they make any money from it. But basically they went and self-published is what happened in North America, even though Limited Run Games, who they were partnered with to help pay to make the game, paid that company to publish it in North America. And Limited Run Games won their lawsuit to get that $78,000 back, and Badlands keeps telling them they can't pay it. Meanwhile, they keep releasing games, so they can afford to keep publishing games, but they can't afford to pay back someone who they never delivered what they paid for it. Oh man, it's just a mess. It's a giant. In fact, I'm gonna give you, if you want more information, I'll give you a link to here. I'll put it in the chat. Hold on, where's the chat over here? I'll put in the chat here to, there's the Kotaku article, and then there's even more information. Where's the Game Industry app? They had a link to Game Industry Biz here. And Game Industry Biz here has an even longer report on Axiom Verge and what it took to get it to Wii U in the first place. Oh, what do you mean an error? Try again. Oh my gosh, did YouTube block? Whatever. Just go to the Kotaku article, and then there's a link in there for Game Industry Biz, and you can read about the history of that Wii U version and just get even more details. And there was an interview in there. It's disgusting. What happened? It's disgusting. I don't know what else to say on it. Gotta love it. Subscribe is supposed to give you it. Now the bell is supposed to, and it doesn't. Now you don't even hit that limit, I think, and it's still not there. Not only that, YouTube, a rep has told us that, just tell your users to comment and like videos. And people do that, and they still don't get it. I don't know if I'll ever understand the YouTube algorithm and how they decide who's allowed to be told that you made a video and who's not. Like, I understand the algorithm for sharing your video to non-subscribers, but the people who actually subscribed and hit a bell icon, like if they hit the bell icon especially, they clearly want notification. Anyway, whatever. I constantly have to go to people I'm subscribed to's like homepage just to see if they did anything. Let me see here. I asked the question on the Prime Answers post. Will you answer my question? Mitchell Claiborne, yeah, I'll answer it in Prime Answers tomorrow. Whatever your question is. I haven't read. How many questions do we have on there? I haven't even looked. How many questions do we have for Prime Answers tomorrow? 10 so far, it looks like. I can answer your question right now if you want me to, Mitchell, now that I see it. Sure. You can send another fun box. I'm never going to tell you not to. I mean, most of the candy's already gone. Here. I will have one of those happy hippos right now. Because my new diet starts tomorrow, so I can't have candy. So, FYI, if you're sending me stuff, don't send me candy. Because I can't have any for 90 days. I'm on a new diet starting tomorrow, so. Oh, this hippo's broken. Oh. Come on, hippo. Oh, it's a smushed hippo. No, so good. Man, that is good. Come on. In German, it says it gives me energy. Yeah, it's called sugar. Man, it's good. This stream will be up later, yes. I'm publishing a lot more of my live streams now that we keep it family friendly for the most part. Oh! Jabby says, now that I mentioned it, you didn't get one for RGT, Dreamcast Guy, or yours. But you do get the one for Spawnwave 8 AM. That's good. I should mention, though, since my new diet starts tomorrow, tonight is the last night for the next 90 days that I can do shots. So all super chats and donations, for every super chat and donation, I'll do a shot. That's at least $1 or more. And yeah, last night I can do it for 90 days. So let's enjoy. Let's have some fun tonight, huh? Shall we? I don't even know how much longer I'm streaming for, but chat's been kind of dead, so it's because we hardly have anyone watching because notifications aren't being sent out. But hey, I thank you to the 20 or so people that have been here the whole time. I appreciate it. I'm glad you guys showed up. Nothing I can do about the fact that notifications aren't going out, so. Sad day. Sad day. You will be happy. Dude, those hippos are delicious. I'll probably eat one more tonight. Because after all, my diet's an extreme change from what I'm used to, so. Plus we'll be working out. Me and my fiance together every day for the next 90 days. Am I at least going to have a cheat day? Nope. Okay, I shouldn't say that. There are no cheat days designed into the current 90-day meal plan. However, I was told if you get a few weeks in and you're starting to feel weak, right? You're losing weight and everything, that's going fine. You're getting through your workouts, that's going fine, but you're having a harder and harder time waking up because you are really low on energy. They told me at that point you need to have a cheat day that day. You need to have a cheat day and just eat whatever you used to eat. Have your tacos, have your pizza, have whatever you're used to eating. Because chances are the extreme change in your diet over the course of those 3 weeks caused your body to massively lack a nutrient that it normally has, and it's adversely reacting to that. So you need to get an injection of that, what it is, and you aren't going to know necessarily what it is, other than the fact that you haven't had this, you haven't had that, etc. Basically, the one thing that I'm going to really notice that I won't be having for a while is pretty much hardly any cheese, and which is gonna be hard for me in Wisconsin not to have cheese for 90 days. And even after 90 days, like there's another diet that happens after 90 days, but it's much more relaxed. I can start to have a lot of the stuff I'm used to, just in smaller portion sizes. But yeah, it's basically no cheese for the next 90 days. No, I can't have pizza. That's going to be a tough one for me, no pizza. Oh boy, I'm going to have no pizza. What am I going to do? Cheers. Thank you so much, Edward Norton. Love and courage beats evil. Is there anything I'd like to see in the fun box? I don't know. I don't like to, here's the thing. I don't like to tell people to send me stuff. I don't like to tell people what to send me. because that's like me asking for presents, and I don't do that. I have a P.O. box, and send me what you want. I'm just letting you know that if there's candy in there, I can't eat it for 90 days. Doesn't mean that I won't eat it eventually. Of course I will. But just not like the pretty much all. Like I had some of the gum. I can still have gum. I still have some of the gum left. I just had some yesterday. I already ate those troll string spaghetti things. Those are really good. And I had that chocolate bar. That was really good too. But I can't, after tonight, as soon as midnight hits, I can't eat any of this anymore. So. Oh, good. The Bucks came back, and now they're dominating, and they're going to win. Heck yeah. Man, they were down by 23 at one point. That was sick. So no, I don't know. That first box you sent was amazing. I don't really want to tell you what to do. And that sword, I felt bad because in the 100th episode of the podcast, I was actually gonna scratch my head with the Nintendo Prime sword at one point, and I forgot to do it. But that's okay. I know one thing that's happening tomorrow though is after I'm done editing Prime Answers, I am cleaning this studio. I think I'm finally gonna clean this studio, and then I might do a live stream from my phone and finally show you guys the studio. You guys have already seen like most of it anyways, right? But there are parts of the studio you haven't seen because they don't appear on camera. A German Dr. Pepper or something. What's different about it? Is there something different about a German Dr. Pepper? I mean, I can't have soda either for the next 3 months, but it doesn't mean like after the the third month I can have a Dr. Pepper. Or I guess on my cheat day, if a cheat day comes up, I could probably have one too. What's different about the German Dr. Pepper compared to Dr. Pepper here? I mean, I've only ever had Dr. Pepper here, so I didn't know there even was a difference. I love Dr. Pepper. It's good stuff. The Dolphins traded Ryan Tannehill, but they don't have a quarterback. All right. German Coke is better than American. German Dr. Pepper is worse than American. What? Wait. What? Wait, German Coke is better. Is it because it's made with real sugar? I mean, we have real sugar Coke in America. Okay. German Dr. Pepper is worse. I feel like, I'm not going to tell you what to do, but I feel like I need a German Coke and a German Dr. Pepper, and we need to do a live taste test during the podcast or during a live stream. And I need to get Eric involved in that too, where we get some different American ones of the Coke, whatever. We'll get like the Coke Zero, a regular Coke, a Coke made with cane sugar, and then we'll get a normal Dr. Pepper. I don't even know. There's a lot of different Dr. Peppers, and we'll have to see to do the taste test, which do we prefer? The sugar is different in Mexico. Cola. They use sugar cane. Yeah, they have sugar cane Coke. They have sugar cane Coke in the United States. Oh, do they put more of it in Mexican Coke? That's so weird. I don't know. Sure, send it. I'm curious. I think that would pique my curiosity. I might forget which one's better. Coke is supposed to be better. Dr. Pepper's supposed to be worse. Is that right? Something like that. If it survives the trip too. I've never shipped carbonated stuff before, so I don't know how well that stuff ships. You like Mexican Coke? I've never been to Mexico, so I've never had Mexican Coke. I like Mexican Coke to drink. It's funny. These glass bottles, yeah. You can get glass bottle ones with cane sugar in the U.S. You can do that. They brought that back. You couldn't for a while, but they brought back the glass bottle with standard Coke a while ago. You're not going to find it everywhere, but you can find it. And then they brought back the real cane sugar version of Coke, which was what Coke originally was. And then they also then put that in the glass bottle. But it is harder to find. It's not everywhere, but you can get your hands on it. And you can order it online easily. Like I would be doing this. Like if I got set the German Coke, I would definitely get the glass bottle cane sugar. I would get a can cane sugar. I would get a regular Coke. Do the full gambit of taste comparisons to see, because of course you got to go the full gambit. Walmart in your area carries it. Nice. Has the Mexican Coke. Nice. Yeah, there are. You know what? I should check at. We have a really big grocery store here called. Gosh, I was just there today. That's where I got whatever. And they have an entire aisle of Mexican import stuff. So I probably should go down there and see if they have Mexican Coke in that aisle. They have Mexican sodas in that aisle, so I wouldn't be surprised if there wasn't Mexican Coke in that aisle. They're probably charging me $6 a bottle, but whatever. For the purposes of comparing it to German, why not? This assumes that it's not a knockoff, because it's not like I've been to Mexico and know. You gotta go back to work. I'll watch the full stream later. Can't wait to show my wife. Good night. Yeah, later, man. Good night. The stream's probably going to actually end here. We're hitting about an hour. We're not a lot of stuff's going on. Not a lot of talking. I think there's Wonka Steel. So what physical titles has BadLands released recently? I'll definitely be picking up the Wii U Axiom Verge from Limited Run Games. Support the original creator and his son. Definitely. That's what's nice is that's all direct payment to Tom and his son. So you do not feel any guilt about getting the Wii U version in the U.S. here. Let's see here. Apparently, they said on Twitter they're announcing. So let me see. BadLands on Twitter. BadLands _ release, they said? Hold on. They had it in this Kotaku article. No, not mine. Okay. No S. That was one part. Okay, and then it was BadLand. _publish. Okay, it's _publish. BadLand _publish on Twitter. _publishing. Well, it's the same company either way. Yeah, so let me see. They announced 16 hours ago, BadLand Publishing did, that they released Mars Chaos Menace for Xbox One. So that was announced 16 hours ago. It actually looks like a neat game. See, they don't make games; they publish games. Let's see here. On March 13th, they're still talking about Mars Chaos Menace. Let me see here. Back on, let's see here. They're tweeting in a bunch of different languages I can't read. Check out this awesome draw for Nintendo Switch lovers, a Metroidvania with an incredible soundtrack. Nightmare Boy on Switch. Looks like they published that. Lovecraft Untold Stories. They announced that back on March 8th. Let's see here. I mean, jeez. They published another game back on March 7th. They publish a lot of games. They publish a lot of games. Some of them might be digital only, but some of these have physical in the picture. Like Occupation. The Occupation was published physically on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. Like a collector's edition of Nightmare Boy published by them. Like, jeez. So yeah, they are constantly publishing games. Constantly. They clearly have money. Don't even have a Wii U. Yeah. I mean, it's hard to not, like, Axiom Verge is an awesome game. The collector's edition is cool. Like, even if you don't use the Wii U physical copy, like, it's a cool collector's edition. It really is. What do I think of the drama in the NBA? Westbrook, dude? What's the drama with Westbrook? Are you just talking about that fan in Utah thing? Like, I don't really... That wasn't that dramatic to me. Oh, wait. A second fan was banned? What's going on? Hold on. I knew about the first fan because they researched the tape and found out that, like, what Westbrook said was true. The fan did, like, you know, say some racist things and came after his family. So, like, okay, cool, you know, whatever. No big deal. And I think Westbrook got fined just for stepping over the line and how he interacted as well. But a second fan was banned? Yeah, see, I knew the owner came out and gave a really... It wasn't a very good speech because she was nervous as hell. But, anyways, the Utah Jazz have banned a second fan for making offensive comments to Oklahoma City Superstar Russell Westbrook in 2018. On Tuesday, the team issued a lifetime ban to fan Shane Keisel for making degrading comments. Okay, yep, that was the one. The other incident occurred last season, before Game 4 of Jazz's first-round playoff series with the Thunder in Utah. In a video posted on social media Tuesday, a fan is heard calling Westbrook boy. "Don't call me boy," Westbrook told the fan who repeated the phrase. Was the motion for security personnel. Okay, that's a little weak. That one's a little weak. I mean, that's a little weak. Like, they're going to ban a fan lifetime for trolling Westbrook with the word boy? That one's a little weak. The one that happened this year, like, that's legit, but really, boy? Come on. That one's a little weak. That's some weak sauce right there. Well, what are you gonna do? They're trying to set an example because things got out of hand. So I don't know. I mean, that one's a little weak. I agree with the first banning, but whatever. They're trying to set an example. I think if the one didn't happen this year, that fan would have never been banned. But let's see here. Don't worry about looking it up. Bro, just thought you might know offhand. No, I knew. Oh, about the games that I didn't. Yeah, it wasn't a big deal. I just looked about it up on Twitter. BadLands has some balls. I got no notification. Of course not. Well, we're gonna call it there because notifications didn't go through. People aren't really, normally we have like 50 people here, but that's not happening tonight. That's all right. Just let this video be done. Let YouTube process it. Send it live so everyone can catch this story after the fact, and pray to gosh that it actually sends out notifications when that happens. I want to thank you guys for tuning in, and thanks for the support. And I guess I'll get to work on Prime Answers for tomorrow. Start gathering up the questions. Thank you guys so much. Peace out.